Welcome back to a brand new TV show spoiler review here. Max Talks Movies. My name is Max Denberg, and today I am giving my spoiler thoughts and review of season 5, volume one of, if not the biggest, I guess, TV show of all time, Netflix's Stranger Things. So if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button and ring that bell for notifications. I do movie, TV show reviews, out of theater reactions, awards season breakdowns, movie franchise rankings, as well as I break down the box office every week. So if you like any one of those things, please subscribe. We're trying to get to 400 subscribers to start 2026. So please hit that subscribe button. We're under 40 away. So please help me out by doing that. Comment down below. What are your thoughts on Stranger Things season 5? So far, it's off to a great start, disappointing start. Are you annoyed with the way that they're releasing the season? Love to hear all your thoughts on Stranger Things down in the comment section down below. And also, guys, please hit that thumbs up button. Again, I'm going to say this one more time and the final time. This is a full spoiler review. So if you have not finished the first 4 episodes of season 5 of Stranger Things, I am going to be spoiling the entire volume 1 of season 5. So please go watch Stranger Things, then come back here and watch my spoiler thoughts. Without further ado, let's get into my review of this season. So before I get into all of the positives, because I think these were a fantastic 4 episodes, there were two, I guess, negatives that I want to talk about out of the gate. The first one, I'll say this. The VFX on this show, this is one of the most expensive shows of all time. Not just shows, one of the most expensive anything, shows or movies of all time. It's around $70 to $80 million an episode this season. And I'll say this, the VFX was not the best until the last scene of, the 4th episode where we got the Vecna and the Demogorgons unleashing on the military compound. That scene and the look of Vecna and that whole action set piece was spectacular. The first 3.5 episodes, the VFX themselves were kind of underwhelming. The opening scene of the season with de-aged Will was bad. It was not good. I did not watch the opening scene when it got clipped out like a month ago. I just don't like watching. I like watching trailers. I don't like watching full-on scenes of stuff before I see a show or movie. So I had no idea what the opening scene of the show was. So when I saw it, it just didn't work for me, just like it didn't work when they de-aged Elle last season. So the de-aging opening scene was not a good one. And the VFX themselves was not great. I also say this, I just hate Netflix splitting up these seasons into parts. If you're new to the channel, I've been saying this for years. I did it when I broke down Ozark and they split up those two, the final season into 2 parts. I complained about it. Even with Stranger Things back in season 4, I definitely complained about it this year with Wednesday, how they split off its 8 episode season into 2 4-part episodes. And here we are now where we have to wait another month for 3 more episodes and then another week for the grand finale of the show. I actually think Netflix could have actually pulled the trigger on doing a weekly release with Stranger Things, where it's 8 episodes, and for 2 straight months, there is a new episode of Stranger Things coming out. That I honestly would think would be groundbreaking for Netflix, because each of these episodes did leave off on basically cliffhangers setting up next episode. Now, again, we're on Netflix, so I honestly, at this point, either want a weekly release for a TV show or I just want a straight up binge. I think these parts just doesn't work for me. I don't think I think Netflix should stop doing it. And it's definitely an issue I have with a lot of their top shows. But without that said, I absolutely loved these 4 episodes. Stranger Things, if you're new to my channel, is honestly one of my, if not my favorite show of all time. I have a lot of nostalgia for the show because I am the same age as the kid actors on this show. If I'm literally the same age as many of those main, Mike, Lucas, Dustin, I'm the same age as those characters, and have felt like I have also not just have those kids, obviously Finn Wolfhard, Millie Bobby Brown, all of those actors have grown up on the show, but I have grown up with the show, which is a really fascinating feeling because again, the show came out July of 2016. So I just turned 14 years old when the show came out. And it does feel like I have literally grown up with this series, and it gives it this nice emotional pull for me. When they did flashback scenes, it made me feel very old because that's how I looked 9 years ago watching the show. So yeah, really appreciate this show, and I love the only season I thought wasn't like great was season two. This season two was a real solid season of television. I have ranked all four seasons, by the way, heading into season five, when season four came out 3 years ago. But this show, people are complaining there's so much setup and there's so much exposition in that first episode. The show really kicks off in season two. The thing that I love about season five of Stranger Things so far is usually in Stranger Things, our characters open up back in school, they're having their usual romantic issues, and then out of nowhere, stuff hits the fan with the upside down or something like that. I love that in this season, it's our characters that are hunting Vecna. They are not waiting around for things to hit the fan. They are going after it. And the way they did that with the communication with Robin on the radio, and that's how they communicate with Hopper and Elle, and that's also how they communicate with the high schoolers to get ready for the crawl. And I thought that was extremely well done. Even when the show has exposition or they're just planning out their mission, I still think the show keeps it so high energy and interesting that this show just is never boring. And I think some people overly complain about setup. They do have a lot to set up. There's absolutely no doubt. But I think they do it in very innovative ways than just sitting around and talking. They keep the energy moving, characters are moving. It's not just standing around or sitting around and talking. There's action as it pertains to the planning of particular set pieces. So the big reveal that we got towards the beginning of this season is not just does Will sense when Vecna is close. He basically is becoming, he can basically see what the Demogorgon. When the Demogorgons come in and they do their action scenes in the season, Will basically is becoming the Demogorgon. Like he can see the actions that the Demogorgon is taking. And he's trying to figure out why Vecna is taking kids. Because at the very end of the first episode, they set up this whole crawl. Hopper's training Elle, and Dustin gets beat up by the high schooler because he's still wearing the Hellfire Club shirt. Max is still in the hospital. We have the male camaraderie battle between Jonathan and Steve, where they're clearly still fighting for Nancy. Robin has her relationship. All these things are going on. But the end of the first episode is that the Demogorgon comes in, attacks the Wheeler home, and very much injures the Wheeler parents, and then takes Holly, the youngest of the Wheelers, the younger sister to Mike and Nancy. And that sets us up for the second episode, which is the vanishing of Holly Wheeler. And I thought that the show just has so many characters that you are rooting for. Each of the dynamics have different, each of the characters have different dynamics that you like. Like, Hopper's always been my favorite character, but I also think Steve is also a top tier character, and Joyce. And I'll say this, Nancy has been one of the MVPs of season five so far. I think she's a character that when the show is not on, people forget how great of a character Nancy is and what a great actress Natalia Dyer is as Nancy. And then when the show is on, everyone clamors for Nancy. And I'm in that boat. Like when I think of the show, Nancy's normally not a character I usually think about. And then when the show's on, I'm like, Nancy is like a top character. And she is the biggest badass on this show. She does not mess around with the shotgun when she's putting the tracker in. She doesn't miss with the shotgun. She wants to be in the action. Even when Steve wants to go through the portal or the gate in later episodes in the season, and even Dustin's like, we are not going to make this, and Nancy's like, we're going to make it. We're going to go. She is full steam ahead. And we got more of her and Mike as well in this season, where they figure out, with the help of their mom, who's not in a coma, but still suffering from a lung injury, the fact that the person that is taking all these kids, and the imaginary person that Holly was seeing and that other key kids were seeing, was in fact Vecna, or Henry. And he's taking these kids for a particular reason, because we thought it was just they're taking Holly. But then Will gets the vision that they have like all of these kids that they're taking, and that sets up the fact that they have to kidnap a kid in the third episode, and then that kid that helps them out in the fourth episode, trying to get these kids out of here. We have a group that's protecting the kids, and then we also have like the Dustin crew that's in the Upside Down. Then you also have Elle and Hopper in the Upside Down. Um, and again, I'm sorry I'm scattering. There's so much going on. We also got the big return of Max in episode 3, which I did not see coming whatsoever. I honestly didn't think we were going to see much of Max in this first part of season 5, other than they're just her in the hospital lying down. Lucas never gives up on Max, but when Holly is in that dreamland, she runs into Max. And we get this whole breakdown of Max was so close of escaping this, Henry's mind, basically. And then Lucas stopped playing the song, and then she went back to the hills. And the moment she went to the hills, for some reason, this mountainous area where Max is staying, Vecna is completely terrified of. We did not get revealed why Vecna is so terrified of these mountains and why he won't even get near. And it's like, and she was even like, he's not just scared, he's terrified. So we'll get the explanation, I'm sure, in the next episodes. But obviously, we got the Max surprise. I thought didn't just make sense, but was really nice to see. Now, so many people on who are Stranger Things fans, including myself, have theorized which characters are going to die in season 5. We just all feel like characters are going to die. And I would say this, the one character they just heavily teased was going to die was Hopper. And I had like a panic attack. Like I was not doing well when they were teasing Hopper was going to die. Hopper and Elle break into the military group on the Upside Down, which is led by Linda Hamilton, who perfect 80s casting. I'm a massive, massive fan of the Terminator franchise, especially the first 2 films, and especially Sarah Connor, just one of the most badass movie characters of all time. And she's just as a badass as she was in those films as she is here in Stranger Things. But they set up the fact where Hopper doesn't know, when he opens his door, doesn't know what's going to happen. And if he runs into Vecna, he has this like suicide bomb thing, wrapped around his stomach. And Hopper is very hard on Elle in these episodes. He just cannot lose 11. He lost his first daughter to cancer, and that really broke him to where we saw him in the beginning of the show in season 1. And he finally got a second chance with his new daughter in 11. And he is so overly protective, doesn't want her near the Upside Down, doesn't want her in danger. He'll happily sacrifice his life for hers. And we get this whole set piece where he's like, I love you, Jane. And he walks into the door. You're like, oh my God, Hopper's really good. Like, going to the season, I thought Hopper had the least amount of chance to die, because we've already done a fake Hopper death at the end of season 3 where we thought Hopper died, but he was actually alive in the post-credit scene. And obviously he returns in season 4. But I was like, they're just not going to fully kill off Hopper here. And I actually bought a ticket that Hopper was going to die. But Hopper did not die. Thank the Lord, Hopper did not die, because him and Joyce are an amazing couple. And we finally get Hopper and Elle on a mission. In season 2, they were together, but it wasn't like they were on missions together. They were very much at odds. Season 3, Elle was doing her own thing. And then especially in season 4, Elle had no idea Hopper was alive until the final scene of season 4. So it's nice to see Elle and Hopper on a mission together, doing things together. Really liked that. But let's get to the big ending of this season. I know there's stuff I'm missing, but I don't want to go super, super long with this review. But the big reveal at the very end of season 5, it seems like everyone's about to get killed by the Demogorgons. Vecna finally talks to Will. It's like, there's a reason why I picked you first. You're the weakest of them all. And he went through all these moments where Will was crying. And just before this, Will had an amazing heart to heart with Robin, where, Will finally sees, Robin is obviously gay in the show, and Will has been very unclear on how he should open up about his sexuality. And obviously, it seems like he likes Mike, but clearly, I don't think Mike likes him back in that way. I think Mike, again, just sees him as his very first friend. And I think Will felt heartbroken the fact that Mike clearly doesn't feel the same way about him. And then Robin says, look, the first person, I imagine that person would also be my dream person, but they're not. And Robin's like, the first person I thought was an amazing person who I thought I could, be with. Steve wooed her, and she turned out to be completely straight and not into me at all in that way, and that's okay. And I think that, and Will finally having someone to talk with about this has was really good stuff. And Will's not been a favorite character of mine, but I think this has been the best usage of Will on the entire series. But it sets up the fact that, is Will really weak, or is he just not really being who he is? And the Demogorgons have everyone pinned down, and Will has powers. Will kills all the Demogorgons, like snaps them in half like Vecna, has the nosebleed. Will has powers. I thought this was a really huge moment for the show. I thought, first of all, it absolutely makes sense. Vecna has been connected, sorry, Will has been connected to Vecna, the Upside Down, for the entire series. They thought they severed it off at the end of season 2. They did not. And so this makes total sense. It's a big godly moment for Will. Noah Schnapp really pulled it off very well. And I thought it was an amazing moment for the series. We also get revealed that the person they were holding up to use as Elle's kryptonite was Elle's sister back in that Lost Sister episode in season 2. Now, again, that is easily my least favorite episode of the series, but I'm fascinated on where they're going to take things for the next part with Elle with her sister and Hopper in the Upside Down. So great stuff here. It was very emotional. You're on the edge of your seat. The action is great. It's intense. You just care about all of these characters. I can't remember a show or movie where I care about this amount of characters on one series. The dynamics are great. The acting is great. The 80s of it is great. So this continues to be one of, if not my favorite show of all time. What are your thoughts, guys, on Stranger Things Season 5, Volume 1? I'll be back in 1 month's time breaking down Volume 2 and Volume 3 of Season 5. So please subscribe, ring the bell, and see you guys in another video very soon.